All right, let's talk about the invisible force that's completely reshaping our world. From what's in your movie queue to the future of medicine, we're going to break down the essentials of data science. Okay, let's just jump right in with something we all know. You finish a show and boom, like magic, the perfect recommendation pops up. How in the world does that happen? Is someone reading your mind, or is it something else entirely? Well, you probably guessed it. The answer isn't magic, it's data science. And, it's not just powering your movie nights, it is quietly running in the background of, well, pretty much everything. Just think about your day so far. You know those online ads that seem to know exactly what you were just thinking about? Yep, that's data science. That spam filter that keeps your inbox from exploding? Data science. It even goes way beyond that to things like the timing of traffic lights or helping police figure out where to patrol. It's everywhere. So what is this thing officially? Well, at its heart, data science is all about finding patterns in huge amounts of data. But here's the key, and I want you to really focus on this part. The patterns have to be non-obvious and useful. It's not about finding things we already know. It's about uncovering those hidden gems, those surprising connections that actually create real value. And this right here really explains the whole goal. The patterns we find have to give us what the experts call actionable insight. It's a bit of a buzzword, I know, but all it really means is that it's not enough to find something cool or interesting. You have to be able to do something with that knowledge, to use it to make a better decision. Okay, so you might be wondering, why is this field blowing up right now? What exactly changed? Well, it all comes down to something called the big data tipping point. Get a load of this number, 5 exabytes. An exabyte is a billion gigabytes, and that is how much data we humans now create and store every single day. Now, to put that in perspective, all the recorded information from the dawn of humanity up until the year 2003 was about 5 exabytes. We now create that same amount daily. It's just staggering. And here's the thing. Not all this data is neat and tidy. You've got structured data. That's your classic organized spreadsheets and databases. Easy to work with. But the vast, vast majority of what we're creating today is unstructured data. The messy, chaotic world of emails, photos, social media posts, and that stuff is a whole lot harder to make sense of. This pyramid is the perfect way to visualize the whole journey. See, a data scientist starts way down at the bottom in this ocean of raw data. From there, they climb up, connecting the dots to create information. Then they organize that information to build knowledge. And finally, they get to the very top, applying that knowledge to create wisdom, the actual insight that lets you make smarter decisions. Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's get into some really game-changing examples, from the baseball field to the hospital. You've probably heard the classic Moneyball story. For like 100 years, baseball scouts used their gut feelings and old-school stats like batting average. But then, a totally data-driven analysis came along and challenged that entire century of human intuition. It showed that stats like on-base percentage were way, way better predictors of actually winning games. The whole sport had been measuring the wrong things. And that is the key takeaway. It's so important. The real breakthrough wasn't some super complicated algorithm. It was just asking the right question and figuring out what truly mattered. And honestly, that's often the hardest part of the whole process. This same exact principle is being used in fields where the stakes are literally life and death. We're using data from millions of people to design personalized drugs. And sometimes those non-obvious patterns are just plain weird. Like when Walmart's data showed that right before a hurricane hits, sales of strawberry Pop-Tarts go through the roof. Who knew? So, okay, it can help cure cancer and it can predict Pop-Tart sales. I know, it really does sound like magic, but it's not. Let's pull back the curtain for a minute and see that data science is actually very structured, very repeatable process. This is basically the playbook for the industry. It's called CRISP-DM, and it's a 6-step cycle that always starts with understanding the problem you're trying to solve. From there, you figure out what data you have, you clean it up, you build a model to find patterns, you check if it actually works, and then finally, you put it to work in the real world. Now this is what I find absolutely fascinating. You'd think data scientists are spending all day building these super complex models, right? But look at this chart. A whopping 60% of their time is just cleaning and organizing data. Another 19% is just collecting it. That is almost 80% of the job before any of the science part even really starts. And that chart leads us directly to the oldest, most fundamental rule in all of data science. Garbage in, garbage out. It's so simple, but so true. You could have the most powerful computer on Earth and the most brilliant algorithm ever written. But if your data is messy or wrong, your results will be completely useless. The quality of your data is everything, period. Which brings us to our last and, honestly, maybe our most important point. With all this talk about algorithms and big data, it's so easy to forget the most critical piece of the puzzle, the human in the machine. There's this myth out there that data science is just a push-button solution, that you just feed a bunch of data into a machine and perfect answers pop out the other side. But the reality, as you can see here, is that you absolutely need a skilled human in the driver's seat, framing the problem, preparing the data, and most importantly, using real-world wisdom to interpret the results. I just love this quote because it perfectly describes the partnership. You let the computer do the heavy lifting, right? The grunt work of digging through these mountains of data. And that frees us humans up to do what we do best. Use our creativity to ask the right questions and our intelligence to actually understand what the answers mean. So, if there's just one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this thought from the authors of Freakonomics. They said that the real key to understanding modern life isn't just about having more data. It's about having the wisdom to know what to measure and how to measure it. And that, right there, is the true power of data science.